Ah, you are wise. Before going in one direction or the other, you inspect yourself, judging that it would be best to know some aspect of yourself before encountering others. Over you is a raiment of bandages, robes, and tassels of white cloth, yet unstained. It billows around your enwrapped body, and you suddenly feel the uncertainty of your flesh, the rippling of your skin, your muscles, your very bones. Most mortals have a body that fits the size and scale of their soul, but this is not the case for you. And thus, your flesh conforms to the shifting whims of your spirit. With a simple moment of concentration, the vessel wrapped around your staggering soul is shifted from the uncertainty of your in-between form to the solidity of a new shape. The shape you take on now is almost instinctual, not because it is true to your nature, but because it is true to what you have already seen, and before long, you find yourself taking on the shape of a salamander, though as your shift subsides, you begin to inspect yourself and find you are not able to imitate the form perfectly. You are taller and larger to a noticeable degree, and your skin is a fierce and pristine white. The spots that dot your skin are composed of a golden coloration, and deep within your belly, you feel a flame begin to burn and simmer. You find this form is easier for you to move in as you begin to make your way across the sands, and after a brief pause to consider your options, you set off towards the mountains, those stone behemoths which you see emerging from the wrinkled skin of the desert's dune tapestry. The heat bearing down on you is oppressive, and as you reach the halfway point to your destination, you find yourself suddenly subjected to your first instances of physical suffering. Your scales resist the searing touch of the sun's light mightily, but they will not sustain you indefinitely. A thirst trickles into the back of your throat, and your scales begin to burn, shielded somewhat from the harsh caress of the sun high above by your robes and tassels, which flip and toss in the errant desert wind like languid serpents. But your vessel is strong, held firm by the might of your spirit, and before too long, you find yourself in the shadow of the mountains, and soon after that, you reach the base of the first and largest mountain. Plants and insects become more plentiful here. Closer to the water you can hear rushing through and across the mountains, though at this range, only distantly. Crossing around the right side of the mountain base, you eventually discover one of the stone staircases which are carved deeply into the skin of the mountainside. One step after another, you ascend, climbing until at last you find one of the oval openings which lead into the inner depths of the unyielding rock all around you. Pulling your cowl more tightly around your head, you enter, cautious but irresistibly curious as to what you may find within this strange hole in the mountain. Deeper and deeper you go, the sunlight vanishing almost entirely after a few turns and bends in the stone corridor. This does not impede you, however, since it seems your amphibian eyes are more than suited to seeing in the dark. Yet it does not remain dark for very long, as you find new light, dimmer but present, glowing from up ahead. Crouching low, you approach and find another oval portal, this time leading out into a much larger chamber. Peering within, you find your breath silently snatched from your vessel's lungs as the sight strikes you. The mountain has been hollowed out. Inside, you see a vast cavity, its towering contours taking on the shape of the exterior walls. And all across those outer walls are paintings, murals made in molten gems and rare earths, spread via odd instruments into flowing and interlocking patterns. Seeing it, I become Lazarav, the contemplator, and from it decipher a meaning. These murals tell the story of this strange interior and the beings which live within, and staring up at them while making a circuit of this vast space will likely yield a history and potentially vital knowledge. But it is not long before your wandering eyes are pulled to the spectacle which is incarnated not upon the outer walls, but within the inner space of this enormous mountain cavity. At the center, it was clear that the salamander men of this place had not hollowed the mountain entirely, as there, plain to see, was the massive, if drastically whittled down, remnants of what was once the core of this mountain. With a shape vaguely reminiscent of a vast, upwards pointed pine cone, the core had been transformed into a truly enormous palace, its whole surface covered in architectural details such as pillars, buttresses, balconies, and expansive flumes, gutters, and channels, often carved to depict massive serpents or draconic beasts. However, no water was spilled or flowed between these deep stone channels, and instead, the source of the glow was revealed, shining off of the superheated streams and falls of molten rock which poured from the edifice at the center of the disemboweled mountain. Taking the form of artful cascades and rivers of shining orange, the lava channels and streams all flowed out from that place, whereas other, higher constructs in the form of aqueducts facilitated the transport of water into the nearly diamond-shaped palace, towering columns of steam rising from its center and escaping from the mountain via its natural chimney. And stretching out from that opulent display and the edifice that supported it was a sprawling internal city of various buildings and huts, homes and workplaces for the thousands of salamanders you can see swarming about. The streets are full, and a hushed ruckus emanates out from this city within the mountain, and you have me contemplate, even if only briefly, how so much activity could be occurring while so little appears to happen just outside. Groves of towering fungi are tended, both for food and for building materials. Forges of various kinds billow smoke up into the ceiling, filling the huge cavern with the scent of burning metal and fumes. Pools of heated water sit in special sections, most packed with loitering salamanders. You hear a noise closer to you and turn to notice another salamander, armed from neck to tail in odd metal scales, an axe-headed spear cradled in its arms. The sound coming from it is a soft rasp, and you see that the guard in question is sleeping in place of watching your entrance, and with a little stealth, you are able to get around the salamander sentinel. Thanks to that rapid thinking, you are unnoticed as of now, and as you distance yourself from your entrance, you see that the walls all around you are almost honeycombed with oval and circular entrances and exits from all sides. No doubt there were passageways and corridors which linked up with the other mountains among the many paths you now see. The time has come for another choice. Shall you circle the city and read the murals? Will you venture into the city itself and begin to explore? Or will you head straight for the central palace and begin your journey within the mountain in that location? Be wary. All that you own is your vessel and your robes. You have nothing else in your possession. At least, as of the current moment. Perhaps that will change soon as well.